Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Summer Blackburn, and my family and I have lived in Birmingham for a hot minute. We moved here at the beginning of July from Houston, Texas. And my husband Joby and I have the privilege of being the mommy and daddy of 4 children. I have an 8th grader, a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, and a 1st grader. And they're all enrolled in Briarwood. And we felt just, the Lord led us here. We felt so blessed to be there, and we're super, super excited until we got that email. But I want to back up and tell you about our experiences with masks with my children in Houston, Texas. So when the never-ending spring break happened, and our children weren't going to go back, they started putting together a plan for virtual. And I could see very quickly that as a mom of 4, at the time of kindergartner to 7th grader, was not doable. I also read the plan about all day, 100% masking, even when they're outside, if we could go to school, and then also what it would look like if there was someone in your class with COVID and the quarantining process. So the reality of me sending my children to school was just not going to happen. So I chose to take them out of school from the public school system that we were in, that we paid some of the highest property taxes for in the state of Texas. Thank you very much. And pay for me to do an online homeschooling program called Liberty University, which is awesome, by the way. So mommy became their teacher. One of the main reasons is I want to tell you a little bit about my son. So my son Warren is 11 years old, and starting in his education school years at 3 years old, bless his heart, it has been a really hard road. He is diagnosed with severely dyslexic, dysgraphia, word processing disorder, extremely ADHD, short-term memory issues, and a learning disability in the area of reading. So school is hard for him. It is hard enough for my son just to sit in a regular school desk all day long, for him to attend at all, and for me not to choose to medicate him. And we have done a wonderful job over the last few years to find a regimen that works really great for my son, that he can be in normal school under an IEP and go to school with his brothers and sisters. And Mama Bear has fought through a really hard time for that. He was in a special school for many years. For him to be able to sit in a desk and attend to teachers is hard enough. The chair bothers him, a tag in his shirt bothers him, the kid tapping his pencil on his desk bothers him, the AC bothers him, a bird chirping in the window can bother him. He has to be on the front row in front of the teacher just to attend. And you want to stick a mask on his face for 7 hours and expect him to attend or do anything? I don't think so. That's a laughing joke for a child like my son. I don't believe any children should have a mask on, but I'm really here to talk about the specific ones that can't. So for me to have my kids home, that was the plan. Halfway through the year, about Christmas time, I realized that there is more to our children going to school than just learning how to write their name in the ABCs. And I think that everyone in here that's a parent can agree with me on that. And I saw the decline of my 5-year-old little girl who never got an opportunity to wear her brand new cute, her brand new cute Pottery Barn backpack that came in the mail because I couldn't send her to school. It was bigger than she was, but she wanted to go so bad because she had watched all her brothers and sisters go, and she could not start and have a kindergarten experience here. I do not have those first day of school pictures for memories forever. Halfway through, I started to see her behavior declining. She was not excelling academically. She could not recite letters to me as hard as I tried. Socially, literally became like regressing. She cried all the time, started talking like a baby again. It was just not like her. So we made the really hard decision that we were just going to send her back because she needed to be with friends. She needed to have a teacher in her life to love her. That was not my role. I never signed up to do that. So we made that hard decision to go, and then my 8-year-old said, I don't want her to go by herself, so I'm going to go with her. So we sent 2 of our children to school. On the 3rd day of school, from wearing a mask 100% of the time, my 5-year-old came back with bumps all over her face, and I heard on social media, mask acne. I was like, great, my 5-year-old has acne. By Friday, she came home, and mind you, I'm treating it every single night. I'm putting ointment on it, I am cleaning it. I even would go in while she was sleeping so I could reapply so she wouldn't lick it off. That was on Wednesday. By Friday, her whole face blew up with impetigo. It went all the way up both nostrils into her nasal cavity, and it covered her hands all the way up to her wrist. All the skin came off. I wrote a heartbreaking letter to our school for the nurse, the vice principal, the superintendent, hers, like begging, like, what do I do? I'll keep her home if I have to. We've only been in school for 5 days. I don't know what to do. I called her. They said, well, she has to get a medical exempt from her pediatrician. Fine. I called her pediatrician. Yes, bring her in immediately. Summer, you're 100% right. She has an infection on her face turned into impetigo. It's now in her nasal cavity. You're treating it correctly, but the only way it will heal is if her face can breathe and they dry up and she has time. As her medical physician, I'm going to write a letter for exemption. I do not want her in a mask for 5 days. I will see her again and I will reevaluate. I went through every hoop that they asked me to go through, what it told me as a right I could do for medical exemption, and I was told my daughter was too dangerous to send to school without a mask. So my daughter is home. Once she finally got to go back, we agreed that she could have multiple mask breaks. My daughter was, this is what they call a mask break. Hula hoops outside facing a tree. You can go in it 3 times a day and have a breathe break. A breathe break. God gave us free air to breathe, and you want to send children in to stand in a hula hoop and face a tree to breathe. Like, that is the nonsense that is happening to our children. At what price, I don't understand. To get out of that school system, we were very excited to come here. I remember going on my tour at school. I heard everything that I wanted to hear. I heard about the success that happened last year, and I was guaranteed that that was not going to happen again. And I can't tell you the heartbreak it caused to have to tell my kids the night before school started that they were going to be in masks all day long. It has sent my son in this direction. He has come home every single day with a migraine. I give him Tylenol when he gets home, and I give him Tylenol before bedtime just so he can keep his dinner down and he doesn't start throwing up. This is child abuse, in my opinion. Yes. And I don't know what to do about it. So I am very grateful I ran into you at Fresh Market. I thank y'all for hearing my story. Like I said, I do not believe that masks belong on children at all, but I really know that they do not belong on my children, and my kids don't have a voice. It doesn't always make you the most popular person in the room to stand up and fight for your children, but just as Melissa said, like, God gave us these kids as gifts, and if we don't speak up for them, who's going to? If your child was struggling at school, you would fight, and you would help them, and you would do anything you could. If your child was being bullied, you would do anything you could. Well, this is bullying our children, and we have to fight for them. So thank you very much for hearing my story and for having me here.